This is an advertorial by High Relief. How this 71-year-old grandmother ditched her meds for this weird bedtime ritual for knee pain. I went from struggling to walk to gardening, playing with my grandchildren, and enjoying my life again. This is an advertorial selling this type of cream product, magnesium cream, to grandmothers, probably over the age of 50, 60, who have really bad knee pain. As you can see, they have a bedridden grandmother in what looks to be the hospital. And what they do really well is generally the entire advertorial sticks to one idea and is easy to understand. It's not too complicated. They don't overcomplicate things. A lot of people overcomplicate advertorials, and that does a lot more bad than good. Right? You should listen to, all the greatest copywriters and people like, let's say, Alex Hormozy. He's like, when he did, I think it was cold email or some type of outreach, he started doing his messaging for third graders. Like, he dumbed down his messaging and he started converting a lot more. So when people, you got to consider when they're coming off of social media and they're clicking your ad and going straight to your advertorial, you got to think, like, these guys don't have that much mental bandwidth to think like very complex kind of things. All they know is they have a problem, they saw a headline, right? Or they saw your ad, they're like, maybe this can help me, and they want to learn more. And your job is to educate them, give them the information that they need in order to make the purchase, right? And help them make the purchase and make it easy for them. And these guys, of course, with advertorials, you want to grab their emotion, and each line you want to lead to the next line. So first they start by going after the emotion. I tried to kneel down to pick up my granddaughter's toy, but the pain stopped me halfway. Right? It's not the pain, it's the outcome, right? When you have painful knees, you got to be in bed, and if you're in bed, you don't have time to play with your grandkids because they run around everywhere, right? So this is a really big problem. And when you're selling a product like this, especially like some type of cream or even supplements, you kind of got to drive the fact that your product does work, because it's not a physical product, okay? You can't really see the mechanism of the product, right? You're not selling, let's say, you're not selling like a back stretcher where you can visually demonstrate stretching your back. So when you can demonstrate something, people will understand it easier and know how it works. But when you're selling a cream like this, you got to explain it really well. And one thing that they did really well is that they used this, which is the secret ingredient. And that's probably the most common reason or differentiation you can have if you're selling a supplement product, something that you can consume. So the secret ingredient right here is, let's see, magnesium, which they're selling right here. Total Relief Magnesium Cream. And when you're making your advertorial and you have a mechanism, just keep it very simple, okay? It's a lot easier to keep it simple, and you're less likely to mess things up, right? It's magnesium, and then they're explaining magnesium. When the soft cushion tissue in your knees, called cartilage, doesn't get the magnesium it needs, it starts wearing down faster than it can rebuild. And without that protective padding, your bones begin rubbing directly against each other. Any kid can understand this, right? And that's a strong point of some of the greatest advertorials and sales pages and copy, right? It's easy to be understood. You don't want to impress them with words, because having impressive words doesn't sell. Now, of course, there's some cases like using it to sound scientific or using it to sound expensive. But the reality is, if you can't communicate exactly what your product does, and that's very especially important for products that you can't physically see, like working, like, you gotta make sure that it's easy understood and that people understand it, okay? And that they know, okay, this might work, and because you explain to them you're using magnesium. And right here, it looks like they were going over objections. So it's a breakthrough formula that seeps through the skin, delivering magnesium where joints crave it. Something that's almost impossible to achieve with oral supplements. So when you introduce your product and the reason why your product is different, if in your market there are alternatives, which I'm assuming there's alternatives out there like magnesium tablets, magnesium supplements, right? There's like tons of magnesium supplements out there. Why would they buy your magnesium cream? And these guys made sure to include that their product gets it to the cartilage, because they explained earlier you need magnesium in your cartilage. So that's why many people suffer from aching joints. And they're saying that it's impossible to achieve highly concentrated magnesium to your joints without their product. Right here, the best part, it's so light, it's perfectly packaged, right? They're showing kind of a before and after here with the person playing pickleball, I believe. And before, it's an old lady holding your leg that's hurting. Even the experts agree. Clinical trial findings on magnesium. Okay, they have a little bit of proof here. They have testimonials here. Total relief. Satisfaction guaranteed. Let's see what it looks like on mobile. So this is a bit small on mobile. These are older people, so they can't really see it that much. Trust is very important for older people as well. So, nice. They use their references right here, which is very important when you're, backing your product with science and claims. First things first, they have all their studies here, but I would definitely include some article headings. Like, you can just screenshot images of articles and just include them here. And I would also show a lot more trust. I would have people with the product in these testimonials, or I'll just add more testimonials with people using the product, or at least grandmas that look happy, right? And you can find these on like Pinterest. You can just search up grandma 50s happy, right? You want people to see that there are other people using the product or other people that are happy. It's just something intrinsically in your mind. Like, trust is extremely important. Like, you can't really have enough trust. Like, of course you can overdo it, but you can literally have multiple trust sections just formatted differently, and that will just make it a lot easier to purchase. And especially showing it at the end, you've already kind of sold them in the beginning and got their attention, that they'll just keep scrolling past the trust to get to your CTA, right? And then once you have your CTA, you can just keep showing trust, making sure that they believe that, okay, a lot of people are using this and it's working for them. Why not try for myself? These are older people. They're skeptical people, but they do believe, when they see someone like them, right? Put some grandmas there. You can also add some Facebook comments. That would do really well. And honestly, I would add like an embedded Facebook post. It could even be a screenshot where they just see an older person posting, I was able to go with my granddaughter, tobogganing, or I was able to go to the park and take my grandkids to the park, right? Because I would kind of still go after the emotion throughout the advertorial and make sure that I include some of the story. But this right here is really good, this kind of animation here. And that's what you kind of want with your advertorials. I would definitely add some graphs or some charts, some sort of visual representation of the scientific clinical trial discoveries on the magnesium. It could be article headings, right? bar graphs or line graphs. You can only just make something up in Canva and just place it there, and that would just add a lot more trust and belief in the product that it works, right? Especially coming from a supplement product or a cream product. And if you're running a brand like this, you got to make sure like you're thinking of alternatives that your prospects have probably tried before. And these guys, they did a good job explaining that magnesium orally is different, right? Magnesium, you need to take it with a cream and everything, and then explaining, that's why our product works. We're using this ingredient. And then when there are objections, you handle those objections, and you don't overdo the copy by explaining it more and more and making it harder to understand. And that's really important when you're making your advertorials, right? You got to think about your exact customer and what their experience is. And if you need an advertorial, feel free to message me on X. It's in the description. And yeah.